Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaurus' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. And on the menu for this Saturday, we have Starr DSP, an indie roguelike shoot 'em up currently in early access on Steam. I had the chance to play Starr DSP at PAX West, and I loved what I got to see and play. So I wanted to share that with you. What kind of taste will Starr DSP have? Let's get cooking and find out.
The Paragon Film, alien scum!
Push the Gel invasion force back.
Yes, sir, Cat Admiral, sir. So, as I was mentioning, Starr DSP is a roguelike shoot 'em up. How is it a roguelike? Well, in addition to some procedurally generated enemy waves, we also have procedurally generated pilots. So, what does that mean? Well, there are some bios that your pilots have, and those ones will be procedurally generated. But in addition to that, we also have the ship, the weapons, and the supers are all more or less randomly assigned. As we start out the game, we are given 3 random pilots to do the best we can with. And as we progress, things will get a little bit different. I'll kind of explain that as we move along. As far as what we have mechanics-wise, so you've got our main shot, which will vary pilot to pilot, and each pilot is basically one life. The basic story is that the enemy forces we're fighting, called the Gel, are invading, and we're this basically mercenary force that's been recruited and we're basically being sent out on a suicide mission. There's, like I said, each pilot has just one life. Once their life is expired, well, it's expired. But the game has some interesting mechanics along those lines. And when we get game over, you'll see that. So in addition to our main shot, we also have
like this before, pilot. Good luck.
We also have a special, which once again is procedurally generated. So it's kind of a triangular wave that I've got going here. Deals some heavy damage. Those specials and our weapon levels themselves are powered by these little crystals we find that are called carbromite. And it's possible to actually combine the carbromites to make larger crystals for higher score bonuses. We also get score for, of course, defeating enemies, and that's going to come into play important in just a little bit. So in addition to our weapons, there's an interesting life system present. So underneath the character portrait in the top left, there's a bar. If I happen to get hit, you'll see that the bar is no longer full, and there's a little slider moving back and forth. If we happen to get hit again when that slider is present where in the filled in portion of our life bar, then we'll survive that hit. But if not, we die and are move on to our next pilot in line. So it's a fun gambit system where if you are going to get hit, it's best to try and time it for when you won't actually die. Easier said than done, though. I am now to my final pilot for this life, but that's alright. It'll give us a moment to show off that oh so awesome mechanic that I was kind of hinting at. We don't want our enemies to get good, pilot. Stage 1 complete.
Good work, soldier.
Some nice stats available here. As far as your shoot down accuracy, percentage, the number of carboromite you picked up. We've been able to accrue 100,000 score. I think that might be sufficient. So,
New enemy configuration.
game over.
Get back me out there.
We're out of pilots. But that's alright, because rather than a true game over, we can use the score that we accumulated to buy additional pilots. So first we have to go and select one of these packs, basically a booster pack that contains pilots inside. It's a really neat little feature. I love, well, opening card packs. So here we go and have our card pack, and we've got all these different pilots that we can select. So of course, silver pilots are better than just the plain black pilots, but they cost more. And here we can see all of the procedurally generated stats that the various pilots have. So here's Shred Eye Breakaway from Sector 14. Loves watching it all burn. Hates large bodies of water, and his talent is hurting criminals. Chance to survive a hit, speed of the ship, and carboromite attraction plus.
You talking to me? Reporting.
I totally have it. Yay!
So I like Shred's weapon, the Puncture Strike. That's my favorite of all the various weapons I've had the chance to use so far. So we're going to go ahead and hire them.
This pilot has an unlockable weapon. He's pretty pricey though.
Here. Reporting.
After that,
On
let's
deck.
go ahead and grab a few more cheaper pilots to use. So we've got Beam L Blast Body from Samin? Loves the immortal game. Hates rotten milk. I can't blame him for that one. And talent shooting tin cans. If it's with a starfighter, he's definitely our man. Bomb R Steel Dragon? Yeah, we have to take somebody that's named Steel Dragon.
Bring it on.
Thunderstrike? Sounds good to me. Welcome to the team.
On deck.
Thunderfish? Yet again, welcome to the team. And Thornbrook.
Bring it.
And that exhausts our available funds, so I think we should be good to jump back into the fray once more.
Prepare thyself, alien scum.
Here we go with Loop
Push
2.
the Gel invasion force back.
So the weapon that I do also like is the Puncture Strike. So it actually pierces through the enemies. It doesn't deal a whole lot of damage, but if you can hit multiple enemies at once, I don't feel it has to. And the first ship I started out with last run did not have very good carboromite attraction, so it was hard to combine them together to create larger gems. But as you can see, they're attracted to this particular ship, so I can drag the crystals together and make bigger crystals for even higher score and the ability to hire better and more pilots.
Whoa, close one.
Took a hit there, so we're down on our health bar. Another hit, but fortunately it was within the range that I could survive. Now that we're within our second loop, with a decent number of pilots, our goal is to finish Act 1, which has a total of 3 scenes. In the early access version, there's some of Act 2 available, and they haven't gotten to Act 3 yet. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing. The special I've got right now is this Death Blossom. As you charge it up, you can dive into enemies and unleash death on them with those waves of hot plasma or something that you're firing. But of course, we do need the carboromite to power that, so come on, crystals, combine! Ooh, 2 large ones. If we can get those 2 large ones to come together, bam! Huge.
Admiral, I've never seen enemies like this before. That's wicked. One shot, one kill.
I hate to disappoint you, but that was not one shot, one kill.
that calm before the storm that all those old people talk about. Ooh.
So as we're moving through our second loop, let me discuss a little bit about the minus and the plus flavors that I feel Stargazer DSP has. So definitely in the plus flavors, I can't begin to tell you just how great I think the mechanic of having pilots procedurally generated and basically like one go round and that's it for that particular pilot. It's a really fun concept and theme in my mind, and it definitely adds a lot of fun flavor to each playthrough.
That was close. Too close. Whoa, what's that weird guy?
In addition to that, I actually really do like the voice acting. There's quite a few voice clips that are in there for the different pilots, and although they could use more phrases to have a few more things to say, it's just a lot of fun in my mind. And this is coming from somebody who a lot of times like considers voice acting to not be that great. It's just some simple fun, and I can really appreciate that.
That guy's new.
So for minus flavors, one thing I can say that I've had a little bit of a problem is the hitbox is actually quite large for sometimes the level of bullet hell that I feel that we're in the middle of. It's not something that you wouldn't be able to work around, but there have been several deaths that I felt have been like unfair or have just utterly taken me by surprise, and I like attribute most of it to just the larger hitbox than what I'm used to on a modern day shoot 'em up. So just I'm assuming a conscious design choice that is a little different from my usual personal preference. And then the other big minus flavor, it's not done yet, which is completely understandable, as this is an early access title. So that's just more like a simple, like,
Not so easy, is it?
wish fulfillment nitpick there. But in the end, the polish that is present in the Act 1 that is complete, the super fun pilots mechanic, it does have a really good soundtrack as well. Makes it so that I can heartily recommend Stargazer DSP even in its early access form, with the promise that it'll just get better. And with that, that'll just about wrap up my Shoot 'em Up Saturday for this week. As always, I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.